Straw Hat Pirates encounter CP0, to which they say, "Why is Cypher Pole causing so much damage?" Luffy sees Rob Lucci and says, "Pigeon guy, what are you doing here? Jinbei things, are they really after Vegapunk?" Chopper scared and starts crying and says that it is Rob Lucci. Lucci reminds Luffy that the Egghead Island is under the world government, to which Luffy replies, "Oh yeah, guess we are the ones out of place here." Chopper says to Luffy that we should hurry up and leave the island. Kaku is annoyed by the fact that they are encountering the Straw Hat Pirates again and also realizes that Jewelry Bonnie is also with them. He says to Lucci that we can't lay a hand on them as the Straw Hat is officially an emperor now, and say that we can engage them in a battle without permission. Meanwhile, Luffy says to Jinbei to look after Bonnie. Stussy also says that the emperors have a considerable amount of backing behind them and even a small mistake can cause an outwar. Meanwhile, Luffy runs toward them and sees that the kid that he met before is lying on the ground and greatly injured. "I just wanted to take a moment to ask for your help." He say to the rest of his members that he is aware of the consequences. Meanwhile, Luffy says to Chopper to help Atlas as much he can. Chopper says that he will try, but he thinks that Frankie is the best person to heal Atlas instead of him. Lucci advises Luffy to keep his nose out of government business, to which Luffy replies that the girl gave him food when they were hungry. Meanwhile, at the Navy, HQ CP0 has reported that the Straw Hat Pirates are present on the Egghead Island. Akainu thinks that Vegapunk called the Straw Hats because he had anticipated that they had been coming for him. Akainu also thinks that Lucci won't even consult him before declaring war. He also says that if Vegapunk has some sort of deal with the Straw Hats, it will be a major embarrassment to their military superiority. He asks for Kizaru as he has already left for Egghead Island as planned, and orders his officers to tell Lucci to wait for them to arrive and he must no engage the Straw Hat under any circumstance. Meanwhile, at Egghead Island, Luffy is already starting his battle with Lucci. Choppers say to Luffy that at least give them time to escape, and Jinbei says to Luffy that he should be 100% sure that he wants to fight CP0 as later the world government will consider it as a major issue. Back at the satellite, Nami is surprised by seeing Lucci and asks whether he used to look like that always, to which Shaka explains that most awakened Zona power tend to overwhelm the user's mind, but this is just something else. Lucci in his awakened form says to the Straw Hat that he is not the only one who has gotten stronger. Meanwhile, Kaku says to Lucci to stand down as they still don't have permission to engage them. Vegapunk enters the room and asks Shaka if the person on the screen is the White Warrior. Nami and Usopp are wondering how he gets here so fast. Nami asks Vegapunk. Weir knows the story behind Luffy's transformation as they are not sure about it themselves and tells him that they think it is one of the transformations of his Devil Fruit power. Vegapunk says that seems funny as there is no mention of such a Devil Fruit in the old Devil Fruit encyclopedia. Nami is shocked after hearing this, and Usopp is confused and says that Luffy always used to say he has rubber power. Vegapunk is fascinated by seeing Luffy and says that he looks like a god, which is described in the ancient books. Sanji questions the god thing and say that it's just Luffy. Vegapunk says Luffy is the sun god Nika, who is also known as the Warrior of Liberation, whose antics could bring smiles to anyone's face. Nami says that she has never heard that name before, to which Vegapunk replies that it was wiped from history. He continues and says that as long as people's desires persist, such a thing will never come to an end. We owe all there is desire, for instance. This leaves the Straw Hat crew completely stunned. Vegapunk says that the desires of all things are born in the world, and that Devil Fruits are in the same boat. He tells the group that Devil Fruits are the embodiment of what people wish they could become, and the reason why the sea, which he calls the mother of all nature, makes Devil Fruit users unable to swim is that it considers these wishes to transcend the world people wish to live in as abnormalities. That's my theory, at least. Whether you believe if God is there or not, one thing is for sure: we live in a world of mysteries world. His theory leaves the Straw Hat crew completely stunned. During Vegapunk's speech, Luffy and Lucci were fighting one another in their awakened states, with the fight being very similar to Luffy's fight with Kaido. As they fight though, Sentomaru arrives irritated as it was supposed to be his day off. He asks VEGAPUNK what he has to do. He says that it seems Cypher Pole is on our side and pirates are the enemy, so just have to back up Cypher. Paul. VEGAPUNK replies to Sentomaru and says that the CP0 agents are after his life and asks him if he can chase them off, to which Sentomaru replies that it will make him a traitor. VEGAPUNK then reminds Sentomaru that in the past, he rescued Sentomaru from poverty, so he should decide what to do for himself. Ultimately, Sentomaru agrees to fight back against CP0. Sentomaru arrives with S-Shark, S-Snake, and S-Hawk. CP0 sees him and Kaku tries to order S-Bear to take him down, to which Stussy says to Kaku that it is of no use. Sentomaru then orders S-Bear to get rid of the CP0 agents, to which he responded. Kaku forgot about the hierarchy of the authority chip present in the pacifist. S-Bear starts attacking the CP0 members, and some of them are injured by him. Kaku and Stussy escape and fall back. Stussy says that the rank of authority the Seraphim follow is very different from the pacifistas. The 5 elders have the highest authoritative chip, VEGAPUNK, and his satellites have the second, Sentomaru the third, and at the bottom whoever else. Additionally, not even the 5 elders can command the Seraphim over a transponder snail. Kaku adds that Seraphim is a huge asset to the world government, which means they cannot destroy the cyborgs, and he curses Lucci for seemingly not thinking this through. Luffy uses an attack called Goma Goma no Magura pistol that causes him to stretch his fist into the ground and redirect it up to Lucci's chest to hurt him. Sentomaru orders S-Snake to guide the Straw Hat Pirates to the Frontier Dome using vacuum rocket and orders S-Hawk and S-Shark to hold off CP0. Chopper and Jinbei notice the Seraphim, and Jinbei is surprised to see that the former 7 warlords of the sea were cloned. Luffy sees Sentomaru can call him the Battle Axe. Sentomaru says that don't just nickname him based on the weapon he is holding and reminds him that he and Luffy are not friends. Further, he asks him whether he is seriously going to take VEGAPUNK off the island, to which he say he will. Sentomaru is not sure whether he should trust him or not as he is an emperor of the sea. He also questions his appearance. Lucci stabs Sentomaru with Shugon and he falls, with Lucci saying that all they need to do is take down the control tower to get the Seraphim under their control.